What's up, everybody? Chris here from Bold Canyon Outdoors, and I am out here in the BCO garage, and I'm trying to solve a problem that has been bothering me since we put in our awesome drawer setup with the tabletop for the dogs to sleep on in the back of the BCO Adventure Jeep. So let me turn the camera around. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We are super satisfied with the way the drawer system turned out in here, and we've got our cooler goes in the one side here. The other side is either a cutting board and a barbecue underneath, or right now I've got my Gear America recovery gear in there. And they hold themselves shut with these little clasps that you get at Home Depot that cinch their way in here. We thought it was a good idea, but when you put enough weight in that cooler and you hit the gas real hard, it comes open. Herein lies the problem. With the tailgate closed, we have a bit of a gap here. Now for this side, it's not a problem. There's very little clearance. This drawer does not open, but for this side over here, this will actually clang against here. So I've remedied the problem in sort of a Band-Aid fashion by cramming folded up yoga mat in here to keep the drawer from opening and banging around. Well, since we're all sitting at home with stay-at-home orders with the COVID-19 situation right now, I've just been kind of brainstorming on a different approach to fix this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make a DIY tailgate table for this. So that way it'll take up, this few inches of space right here, right in here, and keep that drawer closed, plus give me a little extra space to put stuff. I figure I've got more than enough stuff in the garage to make something, so let me dig up some parts, take some measurements, and see what we can do. So hang out, let's see what I can come up with. Alright, first off I need to see what I'm working with here. So with the door closed, I've got maybe 2.5 inches before it hits this little plastic cover piece, and probably 2 3/4 if I take this out, if I want to mount straight to it. So thinking about 2.5 inches from here to here, that gives me a bit of room for something to fold up against here. Maybe I have a piece of wood here and one that folds down, so I have a nice little backsplash. Got about 2.5 inches here, maybe 2 3/4, and let's see what the height looks like. Okay, going from the floor to the height of the drawers is roughly 15 inches, maybe, yeah, right around 15 inches. That is the height I want to stick with, and I don't want to go too high because I don't want to interfere with the lift gate closing and this cinching up against the lift gate in this little channel here. So if I stick with this level, here I'll set the camera directly on you can see got a little bit of height here. So if I stick with that 15-inch level here, so my total height would be from the floor 15 inches. Now I just need to figure out where the tailgate hits the floor. All right, we'll check that out. I think that 15 inches is going to work just fine because the tailgate right here, this little lip, just rides right above this little rubber seal right here. That's how it seals up against it. So if I'm going 15 inches from essentially right here up to about right here, that should give me exactly what I need. It's going to fit. That's not going to get in the way of the hard top. And with that 2.5 inches of space I need to make up, we should be pretty good. So now I just need to measure. Looks like I probably want to go from about here to about here, because like I said, with it closed, I don't have to worry about this side at all. If I started the table about here, it would cover a portion of this drawer and then this whole drawer over here to keep it from opening up. So let's see what that measurement is. All right, time for a little backyard mechanic marking here. Let's see, what do I have that I can set right there? Because I really want to go from about here. So that would be right at the E in Synergy. So if I'm measuring from there over to where the hump is in the tailgate, that's going to be my measurement for width. All right, so rough measurement from about the E in Synergy over to here, probably looking, I would say I'd be safe at 25 inches, maybe 25.5. All right, so I got 2.5 inches of space this way. I got 15 inches up and down and about 25 inches side to side. Well, let's rummage around and see if I can find some stuff to build this with. Don't worry, I wrote down all those measurements in my very precise drawing here. So, all right, let's see what we got. All right, I actually found a pretty attractive piece of 1/2-inch plywood here that's got a nice a grain to it on the outer laminate, so to speak, and it is a 16-inch wide piece. So I guess next up I got to break out the table saw and cut this into a 15 by 25-inch chunk. Okay, now I've got this beautiful piece of plywood cut, 15 inches by 25 inches, and so it's going to go about right here. It should all work out. So let's move on to some hinges. Okay, so here's what I've come up with for hinges. So a lot of people will have a tailgate table that sits in this position when it's open and folds up like this. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to have mine be a higher table. That way my drawer will be able to kind of go underneath it. It'll be out of the way. Plus it'll be a good place to store stuff and keep it up and out of the way, and it's going to swing down. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use these folding table hinges that are for like an RV. So what these do is it's going to attach about right here, and they lock in the up position, which is going to be great. You'll keep everything upright. Don't have to worry about having any cables or supports or anything hanging down. Then you push this button and it folds down. So I'm going to take this little plastic panel here. It's going to be trimmed about here and about here. We're going to mount these guys up, and we're going to have the table sitting in a position across the top. So, all right, on to the next step. All right, so next up, I'm going to take this piece out and we're going to trim it to fit where the hinges are going to go. Now, if you recall, my measurement starting, the width of the table is starting right in the middle of the E in Synergy, which I marked with a Sharpie there. So it's essentially going to go from there to there. So the hinge is going to have to go in a little bit. So I'm going to end up trimming this about here. And on this side, I don't know if I'll have to trim it at all, so I might be able to get away with not trimming it, because the hinges are going to sit out far enough that when it rests on the hinges, the rest of that plastic piece is not going to get in the way. So let's pop that guy out. Let me grab my Sharpie here and just do a rough estimate of where the table is going to end on the plastic piece, and then we can figure out from there how far in we want to go on the hinges. This is an easy thing to pop out. It's just got little pop-in clips, so just gotta get under them. All right, so my mark is right here, and you can see it's gonna be inside of this first clip, probably about here, but I'll still have plenty of support from all of these. So there's gonna be a little bit of open space here. I'll probably cover that with something, but I'm gonna trim it about here. If I make a fingerprint mark, right about there. So the plastic piece is still going to cover from here to the end. And we'll put hinges here and here, and we'll go from there. Okay, now I just need to take some measurements here. So the tailgate doesn't interfere with the lift gate on the back, other than this little piece here clamps into the seal holding it in place. So once I'm underneath this roll, I've got plenty of room. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to have the table about 1/4 of an inch beneath that, and then this screw hole right here with the 3/4 inch plywood and the slight drop is about 1.25 inches down. So I'm going to do some measuring, and I'm going to mount this first hinge with some self-tapping screws. It's going to go roughly right here, or actually I'm going to go in a little bit, about right there, and we'll level it up with the other side and rock and roll from there. All right, so this is a lot of double-walled stuff in here, so I'm going to pre-drill a couple of these holes. Put my glasses on so I see I'm in the right place. Okay. Grab this guy. I'll lock it in the upright position. Start with this one here. Pop these guys back out. I'm going to test fit those screws in the other two holes. That'll hold it. That'll work. A little bit sideways. Find a little bit longer screw bit and we'll get this put on. I have to do the final tightening by hand on these because my longer screwdriver bit attachment seems to be missing. The perils of having teenage kids. At least I can get them started on there and I'll go grab a screwdriver and tighten the rest by hand. So there you go. So that's the first one. It's going to lock up like that. Table's going to sit right on top. I'll get the other one mounted up, and then I'm going to stain the tabletop, put the screws in from the bottom, and we'll go from there. All right, here we go. So the final mock-up is complete. I did have a couple of challenges because these kind of shimmy side to side when you're putting them together. So I put some of the screws in, but then it wouldn't close correctly. Now, opens and closes the right way. Locks into position. So now I'm gonna take it back off of here. I'm gonna stain it, and I'll put the rest of the screws in, and we should be good to go. Okay, here is the finished product for now. I was gonna stain it. I took it all back apart, but the stain was old and it had gelled in the hot garage over all these hot desert summers. So let's go over what I did here. So I took RV style pop-up tables with quick releases on them, the hinges, mounted it to the piece of wood. A couple of things that I did change after I put it together was I had to sand down a little notch right here because, as you can see, the tailgate, the metal kind of lifts up right there, and it made everything just a little bit slanted and made it so the hinges and the screws wouldn't hold up. The other thing I did was I took off 3/4 of an inch on the bottom. It shut just fine with the tailgate, closing and with the table down, but it only gave me about 1/8 of an inch of room over the plastic tray in the back. So if I have anything in the little storage compartments here, I didn't want it to hit it. It barely was right about here, but I just wanted to make sure I had some room. So I cut off another 3/4 of an inch. Let's see, a couple other things. I was able to reuse the plastic piece that covered the tailgate hole. I just trimmed it up a little bit, sanded the edges, made sure I clearanced it right here and right here so it sat flush. But it's on there again, so I don't have to order a new piece or anything like that. But yeah, these quick releases are really awesome. Gotta try and do it one-handed. There you go. Drops it down, sits in place, doesn't move. So there it is. There is the upward opening DIY tailgate table. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hey, do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We really appreciate your support. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or any ideas that you have on cool things for the Jeep that you'd like to see done, let me know. Maybe I'll build something that you want just to try it out. So that's it for now. For Bold Canyon Outdoors, this is Chris signing off. Happy trails, everybody.